So, conventional wisdom has women in midlife focused on the wrong thing. Eat more protein, lift heavier, track your macros, get your steps in. And while those things are important, at least some of them are, I'm not here to argue with them, but they are not the foundation. They are not what is actually driving what women are experiencing in this window. What's happening in perimenopause and menopause is a metabolic transition. Hormones are shifting, insulin sensitivity is shifting, cardiovascular risk is shifting, sleep, mood, cognition, every single system in the body is affected. And sitting on top of it is one amplifier the conventional conversation almost never names. I just came back from presenting this topic to a room full of physicians, change makers, community activists. It was amazing, an amazing experience. But in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through what I tell them, what we're getting wrong about midlife, what's actually happening in your body during this transition, and why this really is important beyond symptoms. I'm also going to share with you my framework and why it starts where it does. Stay with me to the end. The piece that almost no one is talking about changes everything. So I was at Power the Plate in San Diego. I talked about thriving in the midlife shift, what science reveals about hormones, energy, and vitality. And it was an amazing experience. And it was to a group of people that really care not only about the health of people, but they care about the health of the planet and communities and how all of us need each other to thrive. And I told them the same thing I'm going to tell you now. Everybody's hearing the same thing. I mean, sometimes I have to double check and look to see if the data's changed or something. But everywhere you turn, you're hearing eat more protein, a gram per pound of body weight." Totally wrong, I will say. And there's lots of evidence that actually demonstrates that most women in the United States get more than enough, more than what is even being recommended, and more than the recommended daily amount. So let's just let that go. Lift heavy, build muscle, preserve bone. Okay, we need muscle, we need function, we need strength, definitely as we get older. Do you have to go to the gym to do it? I mean, that's up to you. If you love the gym, please go to the gym. Do you have to go to the gym? You do not have to go to the gym. There's other ways. But yes, we need to be worrying about our strength and our function and maintaining it. We need to be able to preserve our bone, which thrives on that strength and resistance training that is important. Move more, walk more, train harder. Just train harder, do it all harder. Cut sugar, cut carbs, cut everything, cut fun. Try intermittent fasting. No, truthfully, I mean, there is a lot of rules that we have to deal with as women, and some of them may be helpful. A lot of them really are not, and they're not really based in science. So I'm going to talk about what we should be following. Strength matters, your nutrition matters, nutrient density over macros is what I think is most important. But the thing is, what most advice is missing is that it treats midlife women's bodies in midlife, like it's a younger woman's body that needs more discipline. We don't need more discipline. We're in midlife. We have gotten here for a reason. We have made it this far. We do not need more discipline. It's not what's happening. Our bodies are not failing. Our bodies are actually going through a natural transition. It is natural. As our hormones wane, as those levels come down or fluctuate, which is actually where a lot of the symptoms come from. It's not just the decline, but it's the fluctuation. But we need different rules. We need to treat our bodies differently. And it doesn't mean that we're doing something wrong or that our bodies are failing. Our bodies are going through a change and they need more support, not more restriction. So it's not just about hot flashes, although hot flashes are definitely disruptive. It's not just about fatigue, definitely disruptive as well, and based in biology and physiology. Estrogen really works on almost every system in the body: your brain, your heart, your bones. It affects your ability to sleep, it affects your mood, it affects how your body handles food. So when estrogen starts to shift, you don't feel it one place, you feel it everywhere. And this is some of the things that we deal with at this stage. We deal with sleep that isn't as deep as it was. Sometimes it's really elusive to get a good night's sleep. We have different relationship with food. It's not the same patterns that we did in the past don't have the same effect. We have a shift in fat distribution, which again is normal because our body is always trying to compensate. If you've seen my videos before, I always talk about how the human body does an amazing job of trying to fill in the gaps. It's always trying to reach homeostasis. And so we really, the key to almost all of health is just supporting our body, helping it reach that homeostasis in a way that makes sense. We can sometimes have brain fog, we have mood shifts, we have anxiety. All of these things are real. We also have real changes in heart health and bone health that we may see in our labs. But again, our bodies are not failing, they're transitioning. And really, we need to figure out what we should do for this new body. It's different than what we did at 20 or 30 or 35. Maybe even our early 40s may have been different. But the thing is, this is a pivotal window, not because we're falling apart. This is a time when we can thrive, but we actually need to support our bodies in giving our bodies what is actually asking for us, and avoid and let go of the advice that really is not addressing the whole person. We are not just a number to be fixed. We are a whole person that needs to be supported. So the thing that nobody's talking about, we're talking about the brain fog and the weight gain and the muscle loss, but we're not talking about, number one, that this stage of life is a pivot, that what we do in this time of change, which can be from about 10 years, it can range 10 years, it can range from 4 to 10 years. We need to be addressing these changes, the underlying diseases that show up, because what we do now in this transition period affects how we age. It affects how we're going to look at 70 and 80 and hopefully 90 and beyond. We want to age and we want to be strong and vibrant, and it's not about lifting heavier or eating less. It's really much deeper than that. And the thing that nobody is talking about, though, that underlies all of this, that really affects whether we age well, whether we show up with heart disease or dementia or diabetes or poor bone health, all of these things, they're all related. There is an underlying factor that has a significant effect on how we proceed. And you know what it is? It's stress. Do you know that stress is a better predictor than what our hormone level is on how we are doing? It's not our diet, it's not exercise. It is our stress. It is nervous system regulation. And in Black women, it's even more important because we know that our stress load is higher, that the load presents younger, and it has a lasting effect, and it really truly affects our longevity. So we need to really start letting go of this focus on protein and weight and whatever else, external factors, and really get deep and focus on the things that are going to make a difference. So the thing is, what happens? Why is stress such a big factor here? We know that as estrogen declines, what estrogen normally helps damper the stress response, but as estrogen declines, that stress response is not dampened. As a result, small stressors can lead to huge physiologic changes. And not only that, can lead to more amplification of some of these other systems that are going through changes at the same time and make them worse, unless we get ahead of it and start again addressing some of these underlying causes. So, yeah, when stress gets worse, it shows up as poor sleep. It may show up as more cravings. It may show up as fatigue. And again, it's because it's amplifying these changes that are already happening. These things have real underlying causes, related to hormonal health, hormonal levels, I should say. But the stress is what amplifies it. So, what we can do really is start to move towards, again, addressing this underlying stress, but addressing the other factors as well. I used to always talk about food first. Yes, I love food. I talk about food for a reason, but I also used to talk about food as a way of reversing disease. And while absolutely food is one of the foundational things that we need to focus on, it's not the only thing. And I will argue now, I think that stress is the first thing we need to focus on, because if we are in a body that is stressed, that body is less likely to heal. It's less likely to respond to those other lifestyle changes we're trying to make. It makes it harder to stick to those lifestyle changes. It affects, every system in our body. So we really cannot, out supplement, out protein, outrun, outlift stress. We need to really sit down and address it. Our sleep isn't going to be better unless we address the stress. So my framework is called SAVOR. And I chose savor as a word because savor is one of the most powerful things we can do to start addressing stress. When we savor, when we move from doing to being more present, to being more present to the taste of our food, to the texture of our food. So that's one type of savoring. But also when we savor experiences, when we savor, our moment outside in the sunlight, when we savor our relationships, when we really take that time to just be present, it actually has a physiologic effect. It stimulates our parasympathetic system. It helps lower cortisol. It helps move us out of that fight or flight into a rest and digest. And when we are savoring, it makes us able to, make a decision from a calmer state. And yes, it's not one day. You're not going to all of a sudden be mindful and then all of a sudden everything is healed. This is something that builds over time, which is why I work with my patients and my coaching clients and in my community with helping people build this habit of savoring regularly, actually throughout the day. And as we build on this can become really powerful. The other letters stand for A is for act, V is for vegetables first, because we know plant foods, not protein, are the key to healing. Plant foods have protein in it. Protein is simply one macro. I just have to add that. So it's really the foods that you eat, the nutrient dense foods that you eat that make the biggest difference. O is setting up your environment for success, making the nourishing choice the obvious choice. And R is for restorative sleep. And so the order really is on purpose because in order for us to have restorative sleep, a lot of times those other pillars have to be in place first. And the foundation is really the key. I always talk about foundational things because when we build the foundation, when we build our environment from the inside to the environment outside us and the environment around us, we really can make lasting change stick. And, we feel better for doing it. So, in my community, which I started to mention there, the Joyful Medicine Collective, we're working through this savor. My goal is helping women thrive through midlife and beyond. And I work a lot with women with prediabetes and diabetes and helping them reverse disease. But my bigger goal is to help women in general develop more healing habits. And we know that when we have a community around us that's supporting us, we're more likely to make change. It's more likely to stick. When we have people to share with, our transition through this period is much more elevated, and that is the goal, is that we really can have a beautiful transition during this time of life. It's often um, punctuated here in modern life. It's always talked about something that we're trying to like grab back, or something that needs to be treated or suppressed. And I think that the transition definitely needs to be supported, and medication can help during that, but also lifestyle and community and support and savoring can really help this transition be beautiful. I say this to say, in my talk that I mentioned earlier, I talked about places around the world where women go through perimenopause and menopause and transition, and they are have less symptoms, and part of that is the community support around them. Part of it is the lifestyle that they live, but also part of it is the belief that this transition is not a decline, but this transition is actually an elevation. So if you are looking for somewhere to be elevated, to be cheered, to be celebrated, I encourage you to join us in the collective. The link is below. I'll be coming back more to share everything I have to that I know that I have that I have available to me on thriving through this stage, and reversing disease and preventing this disease at this pivotal time. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Okay, thanks.